Basically, when I was 15 years old around, we had some financial issues at back home, and we had to take a very decisive stand as to whether we wanted to stay back or we wanted to get rid of these issues and move to some other city, because situations were not favorable financially. And at the same time, when we moved out, it was thankfully that we had our ancestral home and stuff, and then we had some people back in Calcutta, so we shifted all over abruptly, very abruptly. When I left, it was more like a situation where, I was in a school, I was about to give my boards, and all of a sudden I was in a different life altogether. And if I say it otherwise, it's comparatively Nepal is smaller to what India is, and the awe of being in Calcutta, caught me. And there were times when I would see my relatives, everybody, and they would have different opinions. Or previously they were very good to us. Previously, when we used to come for a couple of days stay, and now that we had come for a longer period of time, for us our entire life, they started thinking differently. They started telling us, we need to look out for places and stuff. And when all these things kept happening, and because the weather was something that was really a challenge for us, for me basically, because I came from a place where I was born and brought up, and the place was cold, really cold, and the weather was good. Here it was a Calcutta that's maybe it's near the sea coastlines or something, The whole humidity and everything caught me up, and I couldn't even digest it for a while. So it took me 10 to 12 days until my feet started rotting. Even if I someday, in front of anybody, if I open my feet and if anybody sees it, they will come to know something is wrong with his feet. So these were things that happened abruptly. It would be such as if, someday if there is one wound, and if I get rid of that, a couple of days later or a day later, it is appearing from other part of the feet. And it was not in one, it was in both the legs, not one. And some of the times the feet were so rotten that the moment my dad had told me that I cannot afford your education, so you go back to working, start working. I didn't know what will I work. I was 15 years old. I said, what are you telling? All of a sudden, my dad, and then some of my friends, some of the people around me said, okay, fine, I'll take you to a place. I went there, I started working. In this phase itself, the feet state was so bizarre at one point of time that I had to see a doctor. And we didn't have money to afford even the doctor's fees, to be very honest. And we borrowed money from people. In different ways we did that. We did it from somewhere or the other. And when I borrowed and then I checked, we couldn't afford the treatment, so we just got it checked. So some of the doctors came with the opinion that they'll have to cut my legs, my feet. So when this was what had come up, I thought literally how could this be? I wouldn't digest. We were already in a situation that was already worse now, and I am being told that your feet need to be cut off. We had to get it treated. There was no way out. Thankfully, we met a very, very good doctor, and it was a government hospital where we got this thing treated. I underwent medication for a month, and slowly, steadily, keeping every kind of precaution, everything, and it got off. But at the same time, there was this instance that happened when my shop owner abused me when I asked for money so that I could go and get this treated. So I went to him, I went to ask him for money. I worked for some days, give me money, I need to get it treated. Because what he was paying me was per day 50 rupees. So if a per day amount is 50 rupees to me, you give it to me, around I work for 16 days, I get 800 rupees, I can at least see a good doctor. So he didn't give the money though, and he abused me right on my face. And he used all kinds of slang. And when I did think about this, somehow people will not believe, but it's more of a philosophical thought that comes in my mind, where my feet came alive and I had a word with them. So when I had a word with my feet said, it was in agony, it was in anxiety for the feet itself. It told me that I know I am in a very bizarre state right now, and probably you too are very hopeless. You don't have any reason why you should be doing something what you're doing. But there is one thing I want to tell you. It's like if you have eyes and your eyes are meant to let you see something, your hands are meant to touch something, feel something. So is the feet for. I am meant to walk. I want to walk. So there it was. And even after that, I worked in some places for 12-13 days. I cleaned shops. I was a sweeper in a shop for around 12-13 days, and I got 600 rupees odd paid. So everything was there, and it was very awful at that point of time. But my message to a lot of people after having gone through this and now being here is, I find I'm not that greater personality as of now, but is that every one of us who are going through these situations must understand that this is not the end of life. It's just that you begun, and you need to continue. Perhaps if you are having this situation to deal with, you should just feel that good thing happening. Because as a result of all this, what is going to happen in the next 2-3 years, and maybe 11 or 20 years down the line, is you will see the kind of depth in your character that you develop is something every people around you will be looking at. And even at that point of time, the ones who said no to you will come and say yes. Many people would think, and I know most of my friends also have this opinion, that this book is all about my own life, and this book is everything about me itself. So it's an autobiography. And let me be very honest, when I started writing this book, I didn't write it with an intent to let people know about somebody or know about me. Okay, fine, they know about me, that's there, but what was more important is what is there for them to take away and get benefited from. This book encompasses my story as well as a lot of reflective attitude where I've had reflections, and at the same time something that I have learned and I think people can be benefited from. It's a story that somehow goes into the past, comes into the present, and then tries to talk about the future. So it's a three-way thing altogether, and you will find lots of things to really go and put your head into. Whatever you put your hands on, it will not result into success in overnight period of time. You have to put day in, day out effort trying to see to it that you make it. And even if you don't make it at the end of the day, there is something that you've already gained. And that is experience, that is learning. And so much of a wonderful thing is already happening that way. Perhaps, this is really wonderful that if you want to start something of your own, you do something of your own, and even if it does not succeed, what you take away is a lot of learning from it. That enriches your own life, and your experience, your knowledge, your wisdom, your courage, everything. People around you are already inspired by something that you have done. Many people couldn't even end up making a startup come up or making something happen, and you did it. You failed, so what? You did something. It's wonderful. That's the whole thing in the book itself.